All right, so I have an idea how the 49ers can use Nick Martin. He got his first taste of NFL action as far as being on defense in the 49ers game against the Arizona Cardinals in the fourth quarter when he came in to replace D. Winters at the weak side linebacker spot, the will position. And that's where I think the 49ers envisioned that he had a chance to break into the starting lineup when they drafted him in the third round of the 2025 NFL draft, knowing already that they had lost Dre Greenlaw. He'd signed with the Denver Broncos. So Nick Martin, a guy, an aggressive player, good speed, real good speed, in fact, and a guy who in his next to last season at Oklahoma State just really tore it up and then had an injury plagued senior season. But yeah, on KNBR this morning, I was asked about Nick Martin, and I know I just posted a video about him a couple days ago, but I think it's worth kind of spitballing a little bit here because it's quite clear that the 49ers have to do some outside the box thinking as it pertains to their defense, with the pass rush lacking, with the pass defense lacking as a whole. Giving up the 47 completions to Jacoby Brissett, over 450 yards passing to Jacoby Brissett. And, it's not going to get much easier for the 49ers from this point forward, including Monday night against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Not a team that you recognize necessarily as a juggernaut in the passing game, but Bryce Young coming off a game where he set the Carolina Panthers franchise record in passing yards for a game. So here's the idea with Nick Martin, and tell me what you think about this scenario. So as I mentioned, his next to last season, I think he was technically a sophomore, but he played 4 years at Oklahoma State. So it was a 2023 season when he really burst on the scene with 6 sacks and 2 interceptions, along with a whole bunch of tackles. So there was one play that kind of stood out in the 49ers game against Arizona, where I was trying to find Nick Martin on the all-22, and there he was lined up at right defensive end, basically right outside linebacker. His hand wasn't in the ground, but he was rushing the passer. And it dawned on me at that point, like, oh, that's interesting deployment of Nick Martin. And then, I started thinking more about what the 49ers can do in pass rush situations. For that game against the Arizona Cardinals, they had Robert Beal active, and he was active over Cleveland Ferrell. Well, Robert Beal sustains a concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. We'll see on Wednesday, or this is Thursday, what his status is if he's rounding back in, if he's passing through the concussion protocol or not. But regardless, we know Nick Martin is going to be active. He's been active for every game, one of the 48 guys in uniform. He's been active for every game since Fred Warner sustained his season-ending injury. Now, I would assume, what happens, you would assume though, but I would assume that Curtis Robinson will be the 49ers starting Mike linebacker. He had been behind Tatum Bethune, who was behind Fred Warner. Bethune did not get his chance to play defense until Warner's season-ending injury. Robinson steps in as one of the 49ers' top backups at linebacker. And so he had, 11 tackles in that game against the Cardinals. I would assume that Robinson will stick at the Mike linebacker position with D. Winters as the weak side guy. Luke Farrell is the strong side guy. So Luke Gifford, sorry about that. That strong side linebacker, Gifford's position, isn't out there on the field all that often. About 30% or a third of the snaps over the course of a season. Against some teams, it's more if those teams are running their base defense. Against teams that go with 3 wide receivers, he'll be out there none. So now, where does Nick Martin fit in? As a third-round draft pick, certainly everybody would like to see, I'm sure the fan base would like to see him out there earning his keep as a third-round pick, because that tells you what the 49ers thought of him, that they thought that he was a guy who could step in and play immediately and maybe even play in place of Dre Greenlaw, taking that spot at the weak side linebacker position. However, the way training camp opened, the offseason, and everything else, D. Winters took a major step forward in his third NFL season. So, 2 years to kind of understand what his role is. He played a lot of football last year as a second year guy. And I think it was pretty clear that he seized that opportunity to be the starter and ran with it. So, that kind of left Nick Martin just on the outside looking in when it comes to earning playing time. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Assuming that Curtis Robinson is the starter at the Mike linebacker spot, 49ers need to figure some things out in their nickel pass defense. And I could see a scenario where kind of what the 49ers hoped they'd be getting with Robert Beal, an outside pass rusher in nickel situations, a pass rush specialist, where Martin can take on that role. And I think it serves a couple of purposes. It would actually have three linebackers on the field, even in those nickel situations. But Martin's a guy who can run, the 4.53 speed. He can also rush the passer. And so it gives the 49ers some flexibility. And in that game against Arizona, there was only one play where he lined up at the right outside linebacker position. But I could see where 49ers have to be thinking about doing a lot of different things. And as I was on KNBR this morning, I was kind of, spitballing, and it kind of dawned on me like, why not? And it's not going to be like 30 snaps a game where he's rushing the passer, but, maybe start off with a handful or 10 or whatever the case may be. Put him out there with Bryce Huff and maybe, slide Sam Okawanu inside to try to use his quickness in the interior, and then have Nick Martin lined up wide, and they can use him in a different ways. He can rush the passer, use his speed to get around the edge. He can even drop back into coverage and have someone else, blitzing, a D. Winters or Curtis Robinson or whomever. But I think because of Nick Martin's versatility, the versatility that attracted the 49ers to him in the first place, this is as good a time as any to start seeing what they have in him and different ways that they could deploy him, different ways that he can become a factor, different ways that he can put his thumbprint on this 49ers defense here in the final 6 games of the regular season. The 49ers are 7-4 right now, 6 games left. This is a big one coming up Monday night against the Carolina Panthers. They need to be able to combat the speed of the Panthers on the outside, or just, making life miserable a little bit on Bryce Young. Maybe making life miserable is kind of a high bar at this point for the 49ers, but at least impacting him, making sure he doesn't get comfortable in the pocket and just isn't able to carve the 49ers apart. So that would be my idea, to incorporate Nick Martin into the lineup, get him on the field, have him with a specific role as it pertains to the 49ers pass defense, specifically third downs, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and long. I think that would be a good option. And, have the 49ers considered it? I got to believe they have. Now, if they don't use it, it wouldn't be because they haven't considered it. It would be because they figured that it wouldn't work. And so I think at this point with 49ers defense, pretty much anything has to be on the table. And so that's what I think the 49ers should do with Nick Martin, at least give it a shot and see if there's something there. One last note on Wednesday, the NFL, not the NFL, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced 9 seniors finalists. So these are players who have been out of the game for at least 25 seasons. 9 seniors finalists for 3 semifinalists, for 3 finalist spots that go on and get voted on by the Pro Football Hall of Fame entire selection committee of 49 or 50. I forget what it is now, but I'm one of those people who vote for this. I don't have a vote for the seniors in their blue ribbon committee to get it down to 3 players, but I will have a vote later on when those 3 players are selected. And so Roger Craig remains one of them. And, I think that this could be a good season, good year for Roger Craig because of Christian McCaffrey and what he's doing as far as maybe bringing attention to the thousand club, of which Roger Craig was the inaugural member. There's only been three people who've done it in NFL history: 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing in the same season. Roger Craig did it, and Christian McCaffrey could become the first person to do it twice. So maybe as that gets further on and McCaffrey keeps up this pace, that becomes more of a discussion point. But, trying to look at it objectively, and I realize that, it's difficult to be objective. I've known Roger for a long time. We did a book together, and I know that everybody watching this isn't objective. But I think when I looked at those 9 players, all really good players, well, you know what I'll do is I'll just quote Ronnie Lott because I think he summed it up exactly how I would have and exactly the way I was thinking when I saw what he tweeted. But what Ronnie Lott said about the 9 seniors finalists was they are all great players. Roger Craig changed the game. And so, yeah, that very much sums it up exactly what I was thinking of the 9 senior finalists, 3 of which will advance on and get voted on. So just wanted to touch base on Roger Craig. So if you have any comments about Nick Martin and his possible role, how the 49ers could deploy him moving forward, or Roger Craig, drop it in the comments section down below. Give me a like, give me a follow, or a subscription. And thanks so much for watching this video.